Welcome back to the Wolf of Queen Street podcast. Today on the show, Fraser Bray, a person that is a rising talent in the world of user-generated content, UGC. The person that's been making waves across New Zealand, across social media, and building awareness for brands and driving direction towards the brands in the right way across New Zealand, social media and the marketing. An interesting topic that a lot of us aren't aware about, and something I thought would be interesting for the show to talk about user-generated content, how that is on social media, how does it work, and fundamentally, what does it do for brands? And Fraser, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the intro right there. That was a lot of gassing up.
Oh, yeah.
Me up, but
yeah, man, that was a bit of a hard one. It's on a topic that normally I'm pretty decent on majority of topics.
Yeah.
User-generated content, UGC is sort of a space that might have been around for a while or something, but a lot of people aren't aware of it.
I agree.
Talk to me how you yourself got started in the UGC game.
Yeah, that's a good question. So, funny enough, it all started about 6 months ago, like mid-November.
Mm-hmm.
And as cliche as it sounds, I was pretty much on like social media. I think it was TikTok, just scrolling. And I came across someone talking about user-generated content. And I was like, okay, this kind of sounds interesting. At that point, I just finished university for the year.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of looking for like a side hustle, something to do. And I was like, I watched a few videos about what it is, how it works. And I was like, okay, this sounds interesting. And I was like, I wonder if anyone in New Zealand's doing it. So I searched it up, and there's not many people doing it in New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
I went, hold on, that's kind of weird. And then one thing led to another. I was like, is there many men doing this?
Yep.
Looked, none were doing it. Maybe like a few around the world. And the few that were making it on social media were posting videos like screaming about how unsaturated it is and how much they're making and how like basically begging men to join the space. And I was like, hold on, like no one's paying attention to this.
Mm-hmm.
No one's really doing it in New Zealand. No one's really doing it like in the male, like for males.
Yeah.
If I take advantage of this opportunity, jump into content creation, this could lead to, a massive opportunity for me. This could be like life-changing almost. I was like, I see an opportunity, and I'm one who never really backs away from opportunities. So I saw that, and I was like, I'm not familiar with creating content, but it sounds awesome. It sounds fun. It sounds unsaturated. It sounds like something I could learn a lot from. It sounds like something I could jump out my comfort zone from. So literally, within 3 days, I made my first video, made a new account, got started, and from there, it's just been, it's been a wild ride, but we're here now today, so.
Awesome. I just want to ask one point, because there are a lot of people that will be listening at the moment will be going, cool, it sounds awesome. What is user-generated content, or UGC as it is? What is it?
Awesome. A lot of people have asked me that, like friends, family, people around me, because they're just like, what is that?
Yeah.
And so user-generated content is basically making content for brands to post on their own page to drive sales. So I'm sure everyone's familiar with like influencer marketing.
Mm-hmm.
When you see an influencer promoting a product, like this new skincare brand that they've received from a company, and they've raved about how good it is and telling people to go and buy it. And it used to work, especially during COVID and all those times. It was flying. But a lot more people are kind of not relying on that now, because it's clear and obvious the influencer's being paid off, or being like, there's obviously like some money there to promote the product. It's not certain that if they actually like the product or if they actually would use it in their everyday life. It's more just something they're being paid off to do. And that's where user-generated content comes in. It's like influencer marketing, but for just everyday Joes, like regular people that you wouldn't think twice of if you saw them on the street, who just literally rave about products, rave about apps, talk about how something's changed their life, why they love the product, they make content on it, make it look nice, trendy, and give that to brands to post on their own page. So they don't post it on their own social media page. They give it to brands to post on their page. And the brand posts it. They use it as adverts. They use it as pieces of content. They drive sales from that. And content creators like me get paid for that. So if it's not a free product, usually we're getting paid to make that content. We're basically making adverts for them, essentially social media ads. That's the short definition, is making social media ads for a company and being paid for it.
Yeah, because it's funny enough, you talk about info marketing while you're busy writing there. Anyone notice? I was writing there on my book going, what is the difference between UGC and influence marketing? Because it's fundamentally almost, it seems and vibes the same thing.
It is.
But you are so true that influence marketing came massive through COVID. Every famous person said, hey, use us. And then all of a sudden we realized there was this trend of they just been paid to say something, right?
Yes.
And they've been paid to say, hey, I like this product. Whether the product's good, bad, does what it says, doesn't matter, right? Mr. Logan Paul and Mr. everyone else out there that would just go and say, hey, use this product. I don't really want to call him out any more than that because he's big enough to come after me and he's ballsy enough and I love him in a WWE game. But hey, so there is that space. So what you're saying, which is a little bit different, is that you're creating like old school ads for brands.
Basically, yeah. And the reason why it works and why people like use it is because it's that authentic feel. Like, it's like me recommending you a product as a mate saying, like, for example, sunscreen. The sunscreen's awesome. It's cured my acne. I'd never get sunburnt anymore. You should get this for yourself. And you're more likely to buy that product if I'm telling you that and you kind of relate to me in some way, whether it's maybe we're the same age, same demographic. You're more likely to buy that rather than some influencer on social media just raving about how amazing a product is when it's clear and obvious that they've been paid to promote that. So that's why it works.
Okay, cool. Interesting on that one. But that means that you're only taking on, and I'm going to challenge you on some of the logic because of the space, right? Yeah. You're only literally then taking on products. So taking on products to advertise that is beneficial truly to yourself. So because you're saying is you got to come across and go, hey, I like the product works and so forth. You're not being paid to say the product's good, right? From an influencer space. Not
necessarily. You are being paid to say the product's good, but it's less, I wouldn't say it's like less obvious, but it's more like it's going to be more of an authentic feel. Like some user generated content is literally, some brands will just use testimonials from customers, like lazy old testimonials. The reason why user generated content is different is because it's trendy, flashy, clean enough, engaging enough to be used as an advert. That can be used as a sales machine. That's what makes a testimonial and user generated content different. A testimonial is just a short little quick review that someone's filmed on their iPhone. User-generated content is a sharp piece of content that hooks the viewer in, tells people why this product's so good, why they should buy it, why they love it, call to action, like kind of like get yours now, limited time sale, run on ads, and it works. Like, it's just influencer marketing, but has way more of an authentic feel to it. And that's why I love doing it, because I'm someone who loves marketing myself. I love promoting products. And I usually never promote products I don't like, or at least, have knowledge of. Like, I'll never promote a product that doesn't align with me as a person. Like, I'll give you a good example. I don't vape. I'm not a vapor. I don't do nicotine. And a vaping company messaged me around January, February, offering me a big deal. I think it was $6,000 for 5 videos. That's a lot. It's a heap of money for 5 easy content videos. And I just turned it down. I was like, listen, I appreciate the offer, but I don't do that myself. I'm not going to change my habits, my lifestyle for $6,000. It's not worth it. So, and a lot of other creators who do that are the same. It's just kind of approaching brands and working with brands that align with who you are as a person. Say, for example, you love fitness, you're a gym person. Naturally, you're going to want to work with more gym brands and more fitness supplements and whatnot. With me personally, I love fitness. So I'm touching on that. I love working with, like, I have a protein powder brand that I work with, and I get free protein powder, and it's fucking awesome. Like, I don't have to cover my protein powder. I don't have to worry about that anymore. So yeah, that's basically UGC as a summary.
Yeah, all good. I'm talking about with brands that you respect. I love how you're showing fitness brands. That's not me, bro. Not me at the moment. That is definitely not me, right?
One day.
Yeah. So I'm shout out McDonald's and Burger King. I love you, right?
Yeah. Can't really go.
Yeah, but totally. So you're talking about with brands. Now the biggest things are people that's listening or watching, maybe are cool. I want to do this. I'm interested. How do you approach brands, right? So if I'm starting at day dot. And I think I'm decent around marketing, and I think I've got the logical thought, and I've watched everyone's videos. What's a general way, without giving all your secrets, right? What's a general way to approaching some brands to find deals?
Here's what I love about UGC. This is why I love it, and this is why I recommend anyone to do it. It's because literally anyone can do it. You're talking about marketing. You don't even have to have a level of marketing. I just love marketing myself. But you don't have to be a marketer. You don't have to be a flashy content creator. You don't have to be like beautiful. You don't have to be, there's no requirements. There's no barrier to entry. It's free game. All you have to do is literally just show up on camera and be yourself, like be your true authentic self. So how to get started? Very easy. All you have to do is make another Instagram or TikTok account if you want. And then from there, make examples of your work. Best thing I did was find random products around my house, like toothpaste. I think one of my first ones was like an electric shaver. I just found it, picked it up, filmed some bits of it, talked about why I love it. even though I don't really use it. But, you know, you got to bluff your way in sometimes. And made a few other bits of content, posted them on my Instagram to show brands what I can do. And then I made a portfolio on like Canva.
Yep.
Same as that, flashy, trendy, engaging, like talking about myself, who I am, showing my work off. And once I had that portfolio sorted, my examples posted, social media set up, from there it was literally just gung-ho, like go crazy, find brand emails and just pitch yourself to them. In the early days, a lot of pitching. So you kind of have to message a brand you like. If you can't find the email, you can always DM them on Instagram. There's heaps of ways to get to brands. And you basically pitch yourself to them and tell them why you'd love to work with them. Maybe it's because you genuinely love the brand, like you love their new skincare product or their new makeup, and you really want to collaborate with them on that. Or maybe you just want free products. Who knows? But literally, there's no barrier to entry, and that's why I love it. Like I see, I did a shoot last week actually out in Ottawa with a 55-year-old woman. We were collaborating on a video, and she's 55, has kids, you know, all grown up, mother, and she earns about a grand a week doing UGC. Like, you know, she's like a 55-year-old mum. She can get started. Anyone can get started. You know what I mean? Like, it's no barrier to entry. There's no requirement on age, skill, like your looks. Anyone can get started. So all you have to do is just show up on camera, be yourself. Don't try and live a lie or act like someone different for the camera. Talk about what you love. Work with brands, a line of brands that you actually love, and from there, you know, dream job.
Yeah, it is true. We live in an industry space in New Zealand that you'll be, you know, you talk about work with brands that you like and respect, and you know, being truthful to what to where in the content, because you'll get caught out quite quickly.
100%.
You'll get caught out and find out like you building up brands that you know, not necessarily is the right way or the right way of doing it, and people in social media find you quite quickly.
Of course.
And just people are bored, so they pick on you and all the crap that comes with it. So it is an interesting space out there. So you know, what was one of the coolest things as you started going through these that you know, what was a couple of cool moments, like creating content that you had someone call you or someone recognize you? I always find it as a content creator. I mean, I'm in the podcast game, been over 5 years, so I'm in the content creation game myself indirectly, right? Someone knowing who I am, a random person, to me is still really cool. Not that I care about it, but that's like a cool moment.
No, I can second you on that for sure, bro. It's so amazing.
With your stuff, has there been any sort of like cool moments?
There has been a fair few cool moments. There has been a lot of highs and lows. There's been a lot of lows in the sense that I've reached out to get opportunities and sometimes they haven't aligned. There's been some letdowns, like I've really wanted to work for a brand or a company and it's just all crumbled and you kind of have to pick yourself up and keep going. But I've had a lot of highs. And I think my first high was, a lot of people recognize me from this, but back in November, one of my first UGC jobs was working with Zeal, which is a job marketplace app founded by Anna Mowbray. Huge. And I did a bit of content for them. One of my first videos, put on TikTok, it blew up quickly. I know they were running an ad in it, but I think they put a little bit down and it just grew further than the ad. It's got like over 1 million views now, which is awesome. And a lot of people saw that around the New Zealand summer. So I got approached, even when I was out in public, when I was at like festivals and stuff and on the beach. Aren't you the Zeal guy? I was just like, okay, I guess I'm the Zeal guy now. And all my friends saw it, family saw it. They go, oh, I saw you on my TikTok. And I was like, try not to act cool about it, but that was my first proper cool moment. And then I've had a lot of humbling moments too. Like I've had a lot of moments where brands that are bigger than me have reached out. Like a lot of, not my dream brands, but definitely brands that are huge and well recognized have kind of messaged me wanting to work with me, and that's always flattening. Like I can't believe you want to trust in my services. There's heaps of highs and lows, but that's everything, to be honest with you, man. Like a lot of everyone's journey, whether it's content creation or business or whatever, this is going to be full of highs and lows, and I've certainly had my fair share. But yeah, I'd say the Zeal was definitely my biggest high, just because of the for that month alone, I was probably like the coolest guy in my family.
In your family,
my family, not a big family, but I was definitely the coolest guy.
It's such an interesting space, in irrespective of where you sit in the content spectrum. Like there's these moments where there's you said there's highs and lows, and then one of the craziest things from content is there's pieces of content you will go and you will spend hours and hours, and you will create it and you'll storyboard it and you'll put it together and you'll be like, dude, this is gonna be bank and it's going to work. And then you load it and then there's like 50 views.
Bro, tell me about it.
Yeah. And I can hear a guy behind the camera acting because we're both in the content game. Guys are film producer and everything else and all that sort of stuff. So, and then you go and make something really shitty and real quirky and you don't even think about it. And then that blows up and you just sit there and you're like, I don't understand humans. I don't understand why. And then like myself is I go and look at a lot of content creators out of America and I look at what they're doing and looking at their styles and I'm like, hey, I'm doing that. Why isn't it resonating? And I think one of the big things we miss in the content world is we expect ourselves on day one to look like someone on day 500. And we forget that on day one, they look just as shit as we did. And that's the journey that you got to go through to bring the audience with you. Like I always talk about when I started the podcast game, my biggest influence was Joe Rogan. I listened to his first 500 podcasts over a couple of years, every day for about 10 hours straight to get his understanding. And he still has his very first episode on, you can go and find it on YouTube or maybe on Spotify now. And it was him and Ryan Redband standing there and looking at filters on the cameras and, oh, look, we can make it snow and look, we can make it this. And for like an hour and a half, horrendous episode as a podcast, if you ever watch it back. But you go and look at it going, number one guy for quite a while, maybe top 3 maybe at the moment, or top 5 at the moment. And you go look at his day one. We got to remember that's where you got to be from day one from your content as well. And then just build off that. You know, go and, I say it to my daughter as well at the moment because I'm helping her do a piece of content every day for the entire year.
Yeah.
And there's such a truthful thing I see it at the moment in TikTok specifically. You see a person do a viral piece of content, let's say viral, anything from 500,000, 1 million and above, right?
Viral.
And then you go over to their profile and they still only got like 500 followers or 1,000 followers. And then people don't realize it means that their content went viral. They're the right person for that. But everything else they've produced has been crap because when people went to the profile, they went, it's viral. But this profile shit, so I'm not going to stay on. Yeah. And this is one of the biggest things I've told my teenage daughter is that we got to make sure, because she started doing it in January, just as a January thing. Hey, I'm going to do a video every day. And after about the 20th of January, I started getting involved and all of a sudden the quality went up. And I said, okay, now that the quality's gone up, we can't go backwards. You can't go shit content now.
Yeah, you can't.
Because what happens if one video does pop, you want people to come to your profile and then go, oh, hold on, this is a vlogger. This is a vlogging channel and all the content's of decent quality. Let's stay. And she sees this, she sees this slow growth happening there. Instead of having one video pop, they come over and go, oh, this is a typical teenager. They've made one viral video and all the rest is
mediocre.
Yeah, mediocre or stupid TikTok dances. She's been asked by everyone, can you do a TikTok dance? And we're like, nope, that is not who she is. That is not her style.
No.
But we have seen an interesting trend at the moment is that she's got quite an active fan base. And fan base is a weird way because most of them are teenage boys being teenage boys. Oh. But if we feed that monster what they're asking, they're quite reactive. So they're like, hey, do a challenge. And when like, oh, we did the challenge. And then we're like, okay, cool. We're going to do a challenge and you've got to give a certain amount of likes to do the challenge. And all of a sudden, they're buying likes to do the challenge. Yep. And I'm like, hey, it doesn't matter. But the audience is actually wanting things to happen, which feeds you that whole thing of your audience actually is interested. Yep. And I said to her, as much as you got teenage boys buying like, it's actually quite cool because you've got an audience that actually is trying to make things happen on your channel. They actually engage in spending money. Teenage boys are spending their own money to buy likes to make a challenge happen. So we did a bigger one a week ago where she would wax my legs or my underarms for 5,000 likes. But I think that level just got too high for the boys. Yeah. So they're like, nah, let's do this challenge instead. Yeah, that's too much. There's too much money to pay. So I think if I brought it down, they might be interested. But so it's content's an interesting space. Sometimes great content misses and horrible content hits the spot.
You can tell me about that, bro. Honestly, talking about consistency like you were earlier, I've learned that the hard way. Yeah. Like you have to really put your foot on the pedal and you can't look back.
Yeah.
I've had like spouts, like moments where I've posted consistently for a week and it's been great and engagement's there and I'm getting inbounds because for us, the interesting thing of UGC creators is that building our personal brand or posting consistently doesn't mean like heavy engagement, like heaps of likes, heaps of follows. It just means we're getting out there more and more brands are seeing us. So while more engagement for influencers and creators might mean more likes, more followers, for us that means more inbounds, more messages, more brands wanting to work with us, more opportunities come in. That's what I love about UGC. But I've had spouts in which I've gone a week without posting or just barely posted my story, and boy, it's bit me in the ass.
Yeah.
Like, I'll come back, start posting again, stuck in 300 view jail.
Yeah.
It's like, how the fuck do I get out? I've spent hours editing this video. It's going to bang. It's going to do so well. Post it, flops. Just like, fuck's sake, back to the drawing board. And honestly, yeah, you can, it's, so one thing I'm just trying to do now is really put my foot on the pedal and really stay consistent. If that's not posting consistently on my Instagram, which isn't a requirement of me, it's more catering to brands. It's more staying consistent with what else I do in my UGC business, consistently pitching to brands, consistently networking with other creators, consistently finding opportunities, consistently educating other people about UGC and what it is. So it's all about staying consistent for me, honestly.
So you're talking about your personal brand and stuff. How do you separate? So obviously, you said in the beginning, a big part of UGC is I'm creating content not for myself, but I'm creating content for a brand. Yeah. And normally, and majority of the time, the brand takes that content, they own the content, and they utilize it whichever way. Whether they use it, don't use it, advertising, whatever, that sort of stuff.
Bang on the money,
yeah. How do you build your personal brand while you're still creating UGC content that is content for another brand? How do you build them in the same time without overlapping as well?
Honestly, that is something I spent about 4 to 5 months trying to figure out how to do.
Yeah.
I think I've finally almost cracked it now. I spent ages trying to figure out how can I grow my personal brand and still look good while trying to create content for brands. Because the goal for me is I still get hung up on likes and knocking followers, but I shouldn't care about that because that's not my goal. I'm not trying to, you don't need 1 million followers to be a UGC creator. Yep. I know people who have like 100, 200 followers and they're getting massive brand deals. Like, it's just all about how good of content you create.
Yes.
So that can get discouraging. But what was I saying again?
Personal brand.
Personal branding, yeah, that's completely the question. So I finally figured it out, I think. It's more about just showing up as who I am. And I really want to educate more people in the country, specifically brands, about UGC, because a lot of them don't know what it is and they don't know like what effects it has and how it can actually benefit them.
Yeah.
I've learned that the hard way. A lot of smaller businesses, medium to smaller businesses, especially the local ones, think UGC is just a free piece of content or something cool to post on the socials. And so they'll usually just lowball creators, like, we'll do a gifted collab with you, even though it's going to take hours of work, or we'll just give you like a free strawberry punch. It's just like, no one wants that. It's cool once, it's not cool multiple times, you know what I mean?
Totally.
I've got bills to pay kind of thing, you know? So, and then some of them are even worse. Some of them don't even offer any forms of compensation. It's just like commission. Like, we'll give you a discount, and then from your video, we'll give you a commission code, and you can just do it. It's just like, for sake, like, just not good. So they don't see the value in it, I don't think.
Yeah.
That's what I want to build my personal brand around. And I finally started putting the steps to do that. So in terms of how to balance your personal brand while also being a content creator, UGC creator, is literally just to be yourself. Like, just show up, talk about whatever you want. If you love business, fucking talk about it every day. Give people tips and tricks on how to side hustles and whatnot. If you love like talking about going on to content creation, if you love teaching people about how to film cool angles or cool shots, like how to do like cool transitions, fucking show people that. You know what I mean? Just as long as you're doing something that you genuinely want to talk about and can rave about, that's how you build your personal brand. And it took me a long time to figure that out.
Yeah, it is an interesting one of that separation of space when you're trying to portray, you know, content on behalf of someone else with you still having your own identity, right? Like you're saying, you don't want to be the was a Zeal guy.
I don't want to be recognized as just that.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. But and then building up, like that's a cool moment and all the rest of it. But you still got to build each along the path and stuff. That is interesting how you say about some brands wanting commission based and things like that. And I've seen it over the last 5 years in the show and with sponsorship and stuff. And then you have the same. It's like, I need to get sponsors to be able to run a show, and that's not the easiest thing in the podcast game in New Zealand. We just don't have the population, and companies aren't willing to throw the cost of sponsorship. Yeah. But the biggest things that I did with sponsorship is when I signed up my contracts with the multiple sponsors that I've had over the last few years is there's a clear line at the bottom of my contract, and it goes, this sponsorship generates or is expected and to like not drive or there's no measurement of business to your brand for the sponsorship. You sponsor me and this is what you get from it, or the content or the rest of it. But underlying fact is this does not guarantee that I'm going to drive your business or get you business or your revenue increases, because in New Zealand, they're like, hey, if I give you this, I want this back. No, it doesn't always work that way. If I give you this, you want the indirect effect of this on that side. And 100%. That's sometimes where brands forget that being active and being present is an indirect effect of being seen out there. And we see big companies, like I still see Uber Eats, like one of the biggest companies in the world, still running ads on every single platform out there, right? Everyone knows about Uber Eats. I don't know a single person, kid, adult, grandparent that does not know about Uber Eats, right? But they still run it, right? Just for awareness, not for necessarily revenue growth and so forth. So
100%.
That's an interesting space, specifically in New Zealand, where your brands want awareness, but sometimes not willing to spend the money.
I just don't think they see the value in it at all. Like, here's the thing. In the USA, it's huge. UGC is booming. Like, it's blowing up over there. That's kind of where I got my inspiration from. Because a lot of the creators I network with, I have like group chats on Instagram and LinkedIn and stuff. And a lot of them are American. And they're like, bro, it's huge over there. Because all these e-commerce businesses and online like B2B stuff are just using user-generated content to promote their product. And they're paying a creator like a few $100s to make a video, talk about it, edit it, make it look nice. They run that on Meta, and they just blow up. And it's just huge over there. It's the new craze. And like, everyone's in that country, which is one of the biggest economies in the world, are utilizing that. And it's even trickled over to the UK and Australia as well. Huge in Australia, getting bigger and bigger. Way more opportunities over there. It just hasn't really trickled over to here yet. So,
I'm wondering if it has. My brain's picking up a few things. I'm wondering if it's not necessarily that it's not that it hasn't trickled. It's just that a lot of, and again, I don't want to use. There's the influencer marketing. Then there is the actual social media marketing. So there's a lot of people that I know that have been on the show, and I know as friends that are in that space.
Of course.
And I don't see them as, look, they might be big enough that they are influencer marketing, but I don't put them in that shitty bucket that they say shit's good for money. But they actually go and promote brands because they're willing. So I'm wondering, in New Zealand, because we're so small, UGC is not as big because that bucket is available. So
that's true.
Ed Rivera, Oosgang, Jimmy Jackson's a lot of money, but you know those guys, Uncle Tix, all of those influencers or those big creators, they sit in that space, and I'm wondering, because the access to them might be easier, that therefore UGC is not as big, right?
That's true.
I'm wondering why in New Zealand. So it doesn't say the opportunity doesn't exist. I'm just thinking the opportunity might not be as massive as in the US, because in the US, mate, you ain't getting hold of anyone in the top 5% of influencers compared to the top 5% in New Zealand. So you're not getting hold of, right?
Of course, got you. Big difference.
You can slide into most influencers in New Zealand's DMs. In America,
no chance. You aren't reaching Logan Paul. You aren't reaching Logan Paul. There's no chance. You know what I mean?
Doesn't mean you can't. It means you can try it. I've DM'd quite a few large influencers, and about, not saying many, but maybe 1 or 2 out of about 30 or 40 will respond back to me. So we spoke about it recently over the last couple of months. CVV, Chris Van Vliet, is the biggest podcaster in the wrestling scene, and I DM'd him on Instagram about 6 weeks ago, and we've been having chats ever since. And he's like the Joe Rogan, but for wrestling.
Nice.
He's even bigger than most of the pro wrestlers himself. So the opportunities are there, but I'm wondering, in, like you say, in New Zealand, that the opportunity is not as big because they go in over to the influencers, the legitimate influencers.
That's a really fair point. You do raise a great point. That it is true. It's easier to access the bigger influencers here than it is in the US. But then circling back to it, it's like, it goes back to what I talked about at the start. For example, Oosgang, great guy, awesome guy, love his stuff. But if you see him promoting like a water product and it says paid ad, you know he's obviously been paid off for that. And fair play to him. He deserves his bag. He works hard.
100%.
But you know that it's not like, he doesn't actually use it on a daily basis. Chances are he's probably going to toss that out like the next week. You know what I mean? And also, contrary to that, there's just so many influencers, that big influencers here that you can hit up before it's like, it's too much. Like, if go to Uncle Tix, if you see him promoting like 5, 6, 7 different products a day, kind of thing, like everyone's going to cram it running over to them. it's just like
it loses its value,
it loses
right?
value, you know what I mean? Like
totally.
it's like the value just diminishes, and it's kind of like, well, it's obvious this brand's like, he's being paid off for this, and so do I really want to buy from this brand? Are they really what they claim they are? That's why I think UGC is so important, because it's different faces, fresh faces, ones you don't recognize, ones you know, at least not obviously, are being paid to promote that product. It's fresh, it's authentic, it's true. I just think they don't see, like, brands and businesses don't see what it can do for them. As I said before, I think they just see it as a free, cheap piece of content that looks cool and trendy on the socials. That's just not what it is. If used correctly, it's something that can drive sales, increase engagement, and put way more eyes on your business if it's used correctly.
Yeah.
If you have the right creator who fits the profile and kind of like represents your brand well. For example, an aging product isn't going to go well on a younger person. But maybe if you get an older UGC creator to do it, you know, that's perfect. I just don't think they see the value and the metrics and like what it can really do for them. And I think a lot of those US, Australian brands have seen that. They see how well it's doing and they're using it, and now it's getting bigger and bigger. So although you do make a fair point, like it is easier to access influencers here, I just think it's going to lose its value if everyone just runs over there. So that's why I think UGC is huge. Yeah.
What's your thoughts on the, there's, again, in the American space, I've seen some creators that use the guerrilla marketing for a month, or what they use is they'll go do a massive campaign for a brand that they've got no reputation with, and to get the brand's awareness. So they'll go do like 30 days of, hey, I'm going to do and promote this brand specifically. Let's call it Coca-Cola, Burger King, Uber Eats, whatever, just for like a month. And whether it pops or doesn't pop, but it's just shown a brand, hey, here's my value. And then sometimes indirectly another brand approaches. Now, in the New Zealand scene, like you said, you know, you started with the Razor and a few other things. Would you recommend to any creators in New Zealand that might not be comfortable approaching brands and all that stuff, for them to do that sort of concept? Like, pick one or two brands, do a 20 or 30-day campaign and just do like guerrilla marketing and just hit it hard, so that that company, because New Zealand, if you do it enough, they will see you.
Absolutely.
And pay attention.
Absolutely. I knew no better. I would have done that had I known back then at the time that was the correct thing to do. And what I mean by that is I hate pitching. I just don't like sitting there typing, trying to like prove myself to a brand. Like I'm not trying to be cocky, but I know what I have to prove. I don't really want to have to do that over and over and over again. I'd rather have brands come and approach me. And I think you're way more likely to do that by what you're suggesting, the guerrilla marketing tactic. It doesn't have to be towards a specific brand, but you could just do like a 30-day challenge on, I think my first 2 weeks I did like becoming a UGC creator, like day 1, day 2, day 3, and people started, that's how I got the Zeal one, because I'd made that, did like a 2-week series, posted every day, did a day in the life, showed how I was adjusted into UGC, like what I was doing, all my admin tasks, how I was filming, and Zeal saw that and went, this guy's cool, we want to work with him, and then one of the biggest deals ever done. So if I had just stayed with that momentum and just kept building my personal brand by posting on socials, I would highly recommend that to anyone. Pitching's draining. It gets so tired and so annoying, and there's only a certain amount of brands you can actually reach and get out to. And especially like if you're pitching every single day, like 30 times a day, 30 different people, and you're going to get one response, it's going to knock you down. You know what I mean? Like putting all that work in and getting maybe just one response if you're lucky. So I would suggest the better route for anyone is to really just do what you're suggesting and go on like a massive campaign to raise awareness. And even if you said Coca-Cola, even if Coca-Cola don't recognize it, maybe like a Fox and Fizz does, or another soda brand, and they want to work with you, and that's cool. And there you go. You know what I mean? You've done no pitching yourself, no proving at all. You've just posted what you love, and you know, I would highly recommend that.
Talk me through, for last little piece for today, talk me through the creation process, right? And talk me through from the creation process from, again, from someone that might be just starting or quite new into the game. What's the creation process about? So a brand's approached you for a product. What's the creation process around going to create that content? Now, normally you can say grab a phone and record it and stuff like that. No. I can tell you, as much as you can film a movie on our cell phones, yes, that is correct. But there's still creation, there's copy, there's storyboard and everything else that goes with it. Talk me through your creation process around a video.
A lot of people, not just in New Zealand, but around the world, seem to think that UGC is literally just shooting a video on your phone and easy money. Voila, I can do that. Not the fucking case at all. If it was that easy, everyone will be doing it. And I know I have been telling people to get into UGC. I'm not saying it's easy though.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, I think more people should do it. And if you want a side hustle that kind of means you can be true to yourself and post about shit you actually like, by all means, go ahead. But it's not easy. How a normal process would go is, say if a brand's emailed me and they've been like, hey, we love your content. We think you're an awesome fit for our new campaign. Here's the details. Here's the product. What are your rates? And if they haven't seen my portfolio, can we see some more of your work? And what are your rates? I'll hit them back. Hey, thanks for messaging me. These are my rates. And I'm quite flexible with my rates.
Yeah.
I tailor it depending on the business. Sometimes if it's like a smaller business, I'm happy to knock off my regular prices to kind of support them.
Yeah.
If it's a bigger business, I might be a bit sneaky and try and increase my rates a bit because I know they can afford it. And so we do that, negotiate. Once we've agreed on a set deliverables, like I'll do free videos, some images and some raw footage in exchange for this much. All good. Get a contract ready. Usually the brand has a contract.
Yeah.
I have my own personal one if need be, which just basically protects myself. Just like after 12 months, you can't use this anymore. Users' rights, can't use my image for AI, etc., all that basic stuff. And sign it, agree on it. Usually there's like a 1 to 2 week turnaround time. So once you get the products, you have 2 weeks or 1 week to deliver it, final content. You get the content, the product sent to you. And from there, it's literally like, if they haven't provided a brief, it's time for you to get creative.
Yeah. Sometimes
they'll give you a brief and be like, we want you to talk about this. We want you to mention this. And they want you to kind of portray a certain message, but they're not usually going to give you a full script that you have to read like a robot.
Yeah.
It's more like they're going to give you talking points and they want you to put it out there as best you can. That's what's really cool. You can literally you have creative freedom. So I can make a really cool fucking video, get a bunch of props, make it funny, make it like lighthearted, do whatever the fuck I want, as long as I'm portraying that message. And that'll take, it's a grind. You have to film a lot of angles. You have to, editing takes a fuck ton of time too, as we all know. Editing is not my best friend. And then usually takes, a few days usually is what it takes me, because I have to film different parts. And then once that's all done, put it all together, edit it, make it look nice. If they want captions, add that in. Background music, add that in. Sound effects, cool. Present it as best as I can. And then what I'll do is I'll send them a watermarked version just to protect myself. Be like, this is it here. Check and see if you like it. If they're like, oh, this part isn't great. We kind of want to change that around. Can you say that differently? Can you film that scene differently? Cool. I'll do a revision. I only have a couple of revisions. Like, I can make one change, I can make another change, but after that, like, nope, sorry, I can't just fucking change the whole video. So send that to them, and then when the thumbs up, it's all done, give that video to them, transfer it to them. They have now got my property rights. They use my intellectual property for a set amount of time, usually like 6 months they can have it for. And I get paid and happy days. That's how it works. And that sounds easy, but it really isn't, because in terms of the script as well, you mentioned storyboarding, that happens a lot for me. I have to really get creative for my scripts. I can't just do the same old like basic shit. I can't just have like a basic, normal, simple video. That's not going to sell.
Yeah,
people are going to like, if you'll see on your For You page, it's going to scroll. You need something that's going to stop and be like, shit, that's cool. I want to watch more of this. And then they learn about the product. They think it's fucking awesome. And now they want to buy it. And that's something I've really harnessed on, like trying to stop people from scrolling, capture their engagement the whole way through, and then make them want to buy whatever I'm promoting, kind of thing. That's basically how a UGC contract works. Sounds simple, but it is a lot of work.
No, that's awesome, Fraser. As we're sort of coming up to the end of today's show, is there any advice for any future creators or any existing creators you want to leave them with at the moment?
Good question. Not specifically for creators, because I know how tricky creators here can have it. Like knowing firsthand myself, there's a heavy lack of opportunities, not just for UGC creators here, but influencers too. I know they can struggle with their local deals and whatnot. So I guess just for people in general, if you're thinking of starting something, whether that's content creation or whether that's a business idea or whether that's your own podcast, whatever it is, just jump in. Before I started, I had no experience doing content creation. I'm not an influencer. I fucking hate being on camera. That was one of my biggest fears. I hated being on camera. I hated like being on social media and being out there for everyone to see. Because if I said the wrong thing, it's embarrassing. And what are my parents going to say? It's all this judgment. But then I looked at myself and I was like, the only way I'm really going to succeed in life is if I jump out my comfort zone. And so I was like, if I don't jump out now, I'm probably never going to jump out. So I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to take a huge risk, do something I'm not comfortable with, film myself for a living, and put it all out there for everyone to see. And it was tricky early on. I had a few people who were kind of like, that's so cringe and whatnot, and tall poppy. That did happen, but as time's gone on, that's just diminished. And it's kind of like, I like what I'm doing. I enjoy what I'm doing. For how long I'll do it, who knows, we'll see. But at the moment, I'm really enjoying it. And so the main message is just like, start it, man. I know it's cliche. I know a lot of people just say, oh, just start and it'll be fine. But it's genuinely true. Once you overcome that one fear and just start, fucking doors go flying off from there.
Awesome, Fraser. Thanks, man. And if anyone is interested, anyone that's just want to learn from you or any brands interested, where can they find you?
Well, if you want to learn a bit more about UGC, if you want to learn more about me, literally, I don't sell a course or anything crazy like that. Just DM me either on Instagram or TikTok. My Instagram is UGC with Fraser. So just UGC with, and then my name is FRASER. That's on both platforms. Brands usually email me, and that's basically the same as my username with a gmail.com. Just reach me wherever. Like, I'm pretty accessible. I'm not gone clear. As I said, I'm not an influencer. I'm not famous at all. You'll probably just see me down the street and won't look twice. So if you ever want to learn more, literally just message me and I'll be back to you. Yeah,
awesome. Fraser, thanks so much for coming on the show, man. And to everyone else, thanks again for coming over to the Wolf of Queen Street podcast. A real interesting topic today of UGC, user-generated content, about building brand awareness, utilizing people out there that create videos for your company that you can use to promote the brand, run for advertising and so forth. And it's definitely a way forward for a lot of people out there that are looking for opportunities, not just brands. People are sitting at home and looking at opportunities how to help increase their income on a weekly basis. This is going out for any normal person, mom, dad, kid, or that, to create content and reaching out. And Fraser's explained how you can get into the game. But hopefully there's something you can take from today's show. And as always, thanks for coming over to the podcast and hope to see you again.